Welcome to your first lounge. We're hanging out in the Virgin Lounge before our flight, and Mom's getting a little comfy. Yeah, so it's about 11:30, and we've just ordered a beer and a mimosa with a cheese plate. I made this trip as easy as possible for my mom by transferring points to Virgin Airlines to get lie-flat business class seats in Virgin's upper class. Purchasing these reward seats also got us access to Virgin's upper class lounge for 12 hours at JFK, with its crazy red ball couch, as well as access to the new Delta One lounge, which we did check out but decided not to stay because it was pretty crowded. It was really noisy and we were not into the seafood smells, but we sure did enjoy our free drinks and the really great service there. So this is the relaxation pod in the new Delta One lounge. There's a lot to be desired. Like we can program to be asleep or relax. It changes the lights. But right now, obviously, I'm in the awake setting because there are so many people coming through and all the guests who come through talk at normal level. And all that I have closing me in is this curtain that just... You can hear them now talking. It's impossible to sleep in here. It's no better than trying to sleep on a plane. Speaking of trying to sleep on a plane, y'all settled in?
Find a way to prop my feet up and then I'll be set to go.
It really was too dark to get good video, but we had some pretty decent food. Way better than my usual flights.
We love the salt and pepper shakers.
Told you! They're exciting. So we've stopped about halfway to Galway to get a couple drinks at Sean's bar, which we're told is the oldest bar in the world according to the Guinness Book of World Records. It's a pretty cute little place. It's really, really dark in there, so didn't get any good footage of the actual inside of the bar, but we went out to the back patio where it was really lovely and had so much better lighting. But it's situated on this street that's right next to Athlone Castle, which I'm standing right next to right now. And they're both kind of situated right on the Shannon River, which we walked down to and just kind of looked around a little bit, which is kind of peaceful. It's pretty nice. And it's a really, really nice day, we're told, for Ireland today. So I guess we kind of lucked out.
We had explored more and looked at the patio area.
Yeah.
Instead of just staying in the bar where it was so crowded.
I would assume it's not always nice enough weather to be in the back there. I should mention that Sean's bar is pretty touristy. So we did splurge a little bit for our first stay to get some rest, and we went to Glenlow Abbey just outside of Galway. Needless to say, I was pretty pleased with our room and its view. Last night we stayed here at Glenlow Abbey near Galway, and they have this really cool place to eat dinner called the Pullman, which is 2 train cars from the original Orient Express. And you sit in these dining tables in the train car. We didn't eat there last night. We wanted to go a little bit more casual, but their other restaurant, Palmer's, is fantastic and has a much more casual setting. But this is a great option for anybody who really wants to make a night out of their stay here.
Glenlow, they have a whole range of activities to do. We unfortunately did not stay long enough to be able to participate in a lot of them. There is a wonderful spa where we had just enough time for my mother and I to both book massages, and I had a fantastic experience with that. Today is a fantastic day in Ireland. We got the sunshine, it's about 68 degrees, so it's about as perfect can get. There are all kinds of these beautifully manicured gardens all over the grounds, and I don't know the names of any of these plants, but it makes me want to know them. They have bikes that you can use for free. They have kind of like a concierge, I think, who can arrange horseback riding nearby, somewhere here in Connemara. There's boat rides. I believe there's a river that is not too far from here, just maybe to the northeast. And then it's only a few miles outside of Galway, so it's really easy to pop back over into Galway and go see all the shops and all of the streets over there, which I think is what we're gonna do today when our driver Henry picks us up.
I had to fangirl over this mural in Galway because it's part of Kelsey Montague's What Lifts You series. Matt and I had just seen several pieces of this series all over Nashville a few months before this.
Oops, sleeping baby. No, baby, just put up a foot. I said, baby, put up a foot. All right.
On our way north from Galway to Donegal, we made a pit stop at St. Columba's Church in County Sligo, where W.B. Yeats was buried, per his instructions in one of his poems, Under Ben Bulben. You can find the gravestone just to the left of the church as you enter. There's also a really cool ancient Celtic cross right next to the roadway. We spent the night in Donegal town and got up early in the morning to go explore the town a little bit. We had some great scones and tea at the Blueberry Tea Rooms, stopped at an ATM, and then we got back in the car to head out to see more of the Wild Atlantic Way. Our driver Henry, who had grown up in Donegal, had some really great insights about its coastline, its plants, and the history.
So, Tara, what you would do as well is that you would pick that yellow flower,
Yeah?
and that's what you would use to wash your hair, because if you're fair-haired, that's what they used to use to wash their hair back then as well. That kind of it's a yellow flower.
Our next stop was Slieve League, a series of impressive cliffs along the Wild Atlantic Way, much further north from where most tourists will go.
So this is Slieve League. I should know better. I've been trained to say that, and that is still very tricky to say, especially the way it is spelled. But Slieve League, Flagstone Mountain. Our driver Henry tells us this is the highest accessible route to cliffs in Europe, which is kind of mind-blowing. I suppose there are higher sea cliffs in Europe, but they are not accessible by road. It is limited getting up here. We were able to drive because we had a private driver, but typically it's a bit of a hike for most people, and there are a lot of biting flies, so that makes it a little unpleasant trying to stand still. But the view is incredible. We managed to get a beautiful day out here with it being pretty sunny, blue skies, very little breeze, but just enough to smell the sea air and get to see some of the heather that has started to come out.
We spent our afternoon exploring the Glenculumkill Folk Village, known as one of Ireland's best living history museums. We easily could have spent hours exploring the area. Our last morning in Donegal was spent at Glenveigh National Park, situated in the Derry Veigh Mountains. The park is home to a Victorian castle and its impressive gardens, which Mom really enjoyed. To end our final day in Donegal, Henry drove us up through the boglands along the northern coast to the Bloody Forelands. I was really excited to see the city of Derry, not only for its extensive history, but also for its role in the independence of Ireland. Derry is where the Bloody Sunday incident occurred during a peaceful protest inspired by the civil rights movement in the US during the 1960s. That event is heavily memorialized in the street art throughout Bogside, which I recommend looking for. Derry is also home to several interesting museums and, of course, filming locations from the Derry Girls TV show.
We're gonna go check out the Derry Girl mural. This is part of the labyrinth quality of the city. I took a wrong turn and I wound up on the wall, taking a hike to get up here to see some of my favorite people. So funny enough, this isn't even the actual causeway section with the hexagonal basalt. I haven't gotten to that point yet. This was just the first stop. But the sound of the waves is pretty nice. So I finally made it down to the basalt columns, which is the more well-known part of the Giant's Causeway, which is all of the hexagonal sort of stepping stones coming off of the land going out into the ocean. Now there's some examples here where they're not perfectly cut. They're a little jagged here and there, and they've got new cuts in the middle of these hexagonal shapes. But there are some really great examples where they're just perfect lines, and they look man-made, but they're entirely natural. Just like every other national park in the world, everybody who's here is a geologist to some degree. It's kind of fun and entertaining to listen to some people's explanations.
We finished our time in Northern Ireland by visiting the Seamus Heaney Museum and the Titanic Museum. I wasn't comfortable filming in these museums, but they were both very interesting, unique experiences. Rather than fight the Oasis concert crowds in downtown Dublin, we opted to stay in the suburbs to treat Mom to a garden wonderland at Malahide Castle. At this point, we sadly had to say goodbye to Henry and send him home to Donegal before we flew out the next morning. We had a day-long layover in Manchester to catch our flight back to the US, so my in-laws came down from Lancashire to visit us.
£5 train charge?
Sure.
That's fine.
I think I spoiled my mom a little bit too much.
I'd like goat cheese flatbread, chicken strips, and 2 Diet Coke. That is, thank you. It can just be on my room fee. Bye.
Aren't you spoiled?
Yep.